Welcome back to the Cinema So Far podcast, the podcast where good friends talk about great cinema. And I'm your host, James.
And I'm your co-host today, Sydney.
And today we are talking about House of the Dragon. I think we got so wrapped up in the Night of the Seven Kingdoms season, we figured, you know what? Let's just go back and start House of the Dragon coverage. I know that it's there's a lot out there already, but our hope is to cover every episode leading up to season 3 so that when that comes out, we can, cover those episodes in full. But
is it season 2 or season 3?
Season 3.
Season 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's already season 1 and 2. And I know that you already kind of started Game of Thrones, but I guess we're going to just kind of stick with House of the Dragon for now. And then
I'll pick back up after this.
Yeah.
But
we'll go ahead and cover that after maybe.
And so House of the Dragon is a prequel to Night of the Seven Kingdoms, right? Like
Yes.
It's even before.
Yes.
Okay.
And for anyone that's watching, just to kind of give a little bit of background here. So so this is a rewatch for me. I've seen all of the episodes multiple times and haven't read the books, but I feel like I've heard enough out there to kind of know how to compare the two. But and then what about you, Sid? What's kind of your backstory here for Westeros?
I'm brand new to the Westeros universe. Like you were saying, I stopped at the very beginning of season 3 of Game of Thrones. I was preparing for Night of the Seven Kingdoms, fell in love with the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and just kind of wanted to stay in this world because it is so in-depth and involved, magnificent, epic. And I really am excited to dive into House of the Dragon.
Today we're going to talk about episode 1 of season 1. The title is The Heirs of the Dragon. And let me just start off by asking, how do you think it compares to A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, specifically, since we finished that whole season?
It's specifically to A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. This is more reminiscent of Game of Thrones, except with actual dragons right off the bat. So a lot more involved, a little more difficult for me to keep up with. Still got to have those captions on. But I'm happy that you can still enjoy it without having to watch Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think I'm going to keep referring to you as our sweet summer child.
I'm down with it.
Since you're new to the world and you haven't been through the harsh winter yet, but
I'm ready for it though. I got me one of those furry capes that I got at Scarborough Fair last year and a sword. So when the winter comes, I am locked and loaded.
Yeah. And I know you're just a big fan of like medieval stuff, and you've gone to Scarborough Fair a bunch of times and all of that. So I feel like you're going to be right at home. I think that for me, the big difference with this with this show compared to A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, like you said, it's a little bit more complex. There's more people, more characters, more different lands that are involved. I think it's just a lot darker also.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you could tell from the first for me, the first episode was pretty dark. I mean, there's some gnarly stuff.
I mean, just them chopping hands and ball sacks and a
medieval C-section.
Wow, there's a lot to say about that, but I was gonna shoot that question right back at you in comparison to A Night of the Seven Kingdoms and to Game of Thrones. Did you watch this show right when it came out? Like, how many times have you seen the season? Is it as dear to your heart as Game of Thrones?
I haven't seen it as many times as I've seen Game of Thrones. I think maybe I've seen Game of Thrones like 4 or 5 times already. But I have watched every episode of House of the Dragon maybe twice.
Okay.
I would say, they're all, it's like different flavors of ice cream or something, and they're all good. They just
That's a good
have
way to
their
put it.
own unique flavor to it. And so for me, House of the Dragon is like, it's a really good prequel. Um, I think they put a lot of things in there that if you're like a super fan of Game of Thrones, you're going to pick some stuff out right away. But I don't know if it's so heavy handed that like on your first watch without fully watching Game of Thrones, you're going to understand that stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
definitely not. But from watching A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, is I can understand more of the lingo. You know, the areas like Dorne, and obviously, I think it's interesting that the Targaryens get their whole show.
hmm Yeah. Because that's one of the cool things about the beginning of Game of Thrones, and why it's so cool to do this prequel is because like in this time for House of the Dragon, like this is like the height of like magic, and there's a lot of dragons. And in Game of Thrones, like all of that stuff is in the past. You know,
Hmm.
people people don't even believe that there are, dragons or magic or anything when Game of Thrones starts. And that's like 200 years later. So there's a lot that has to happen between this time and when Game of Thrones starts, just in 200 years. One of the scenes that I think like really indicates that is when Rhaenyra is riding over King's Landing. She's riding her dragon over the city, and people don't even look up. They're just like,
King's Landing, Dorne.
yeah, there you go.
Hmm.
You'll get them.
I was pretty happy with myself that I knew this was before A Night of the before the other two, because there was dragons. I was like, oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
This makes sense. But it's interesting that it came out in 2022, so
hmm Yeah.
fairly newer. It's interesting to see how the the pageantry and the graphics compare to both of them.
Yeah. I mean, I think they like um, the show cost a lot of money, obviously, because of just how awesome everything looks. I mean, the scenery, the sets that they do, all of the dragons. I mean, that stuff is expensive.
The
Um,
actual dragons.
yeah. So,
Uh-huh.
okay. Well, all that aside, what did you think of the episode?
First of all, the crazy names are
Yeah.
throwing me out. It's going to take me a minute to really pronounce them correctly and memorize all of them. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I'm a little intimidated. Not going to lie. I'm like, uh-oh, this is going to be intense. This is going to be intense. Not as easy as A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I was going to try to abbreviate it, but I can't
Yeah.
do
I
it
don't
without
know.
looking at it.
Yeah.
um so what did you think watching it for the first time again, or in a while?
Yeah. Rewatching. Well, I picked up a lot more this time, having like gone through both seasons. But yeah, I just love being back in this world. Like I just
Hmm.
love all of the lore, all of the attention to detail, and then like some of the some of the really cool things from the books that they don't really spell out for you truly, but it's like if you kind of know some of the book lore, um, you can pick it up. So like I'll give you one example. So in the lore of the world, it's kind of like like maybe a superstition or something where if you sit, if you're a king and you sit on the Iron Throne and it cuts you, that's kind of like supposed to mean that you might not be fit as a king, or
Really?
yeah, or you might not be a good king, to rule. It's almost like the throne is rejecting you in a way.
That's so interesting because in the books I've been reading, if a blade cuts you, it chooses you. So it's a complete opposite.
Yeah, maybe it's just different when it's a throne, when it's an iron throne,
Hmm.
I guess. So
So I knew
there's
that was going to have to be significant the way it cut to his cut finger. I wonder how this is going to circle back.
hmm and he
But
had, and the king, he had that cut on his back that was like kind of festering and stuff. That it won't heal, and I
mhm,
I thought that was like super gnarly the way they're gonna solve it, which is just cauterize it, just burn it.
hey, I think for that time, that's the best thing you can do.
hmm
So I guess for this episode too, sans the lore, kind of building it up, it's centered around the tournament and the birth of the new heir, possibly. Which, holy shit.
Yeah, that was a scene,
Holy
right?
shit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, yeah. What did you think about it? What did you like? What did you not like?
I just, it was so heart wrenching that she had so many failed attempts at birth, and that was kind of her purpose, and that she didn't get a say in having like save the child or save her or lose both, and they ended up, I mean, losing both anyway. But when they named it, they were gonna he was gonna name it Balin. I was like, oh my god, is that Lord Balin? Like, holy shit. No, that's not that's not what happened.
Nope.
But and they were having a whole ass tournament like before it even happened.
hmm
I was like, of course, all they're all partying down there in the tournament, jousting each other's heads off while she's up there dying,
Yeah,
fighting for her life.
fighting for her life, and then uh, Viserys, who's the king, man, what a tough choice he had to make, and uh, that that was just brutal, right? Because he
Hmm.
obviously loves her, but his his attempt to create an heir, a male heir, it just overpowered that, and man, just
That was
brutal.
definitely the priority, it seemed in his eyes, which in the end, it worked out that his daughter is now the heir to the Iron Throne because is it his son or brother that was like celebrating that he was going to be the heir? Was that his brother?
Daemon, yeah, that's his brother.
Okay.
And so that's just kind of how that's what you'll kind of find in the Game of Thrones world, is like the what's called the succession is like a big deal, and that's what everyone's
Okay.
fighting over. If there's not, if you're not the firstborn son, then you can kind of fight for it and kill the firstborn, and then assume the next spot.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a thing.
In hindsight, I mean, it all could have been avoided if he just would have crowned the daughter the heir to the Iron Throne, could have saved the wife and the uh mourning of her having to keep having miscarriages or, her fate and die in the most horrific way.
Yeah, and I mean, the actor is so good because you can just see how devastating that was for him, to make that choice, and then even thinking it was the wrong choice in the end.
Hmm.
Um, but I think one of my favorite parts of the episode, as weird as it sounds, is the um the opening, the beginning, where it's like the the reigning king at the time, um I think his name is Jaharis, but he, doesn't want a bunch of fighting to happen. And so he basically calls everyone in. Is like, all right, we're going to vote. And then, of course, they ended up voting for the Viserys, the man, um, over who may have been a better qualified ruler. Rhaenys, I think is her name. Rhaenys, uh, who basically got skipped over because she's a woman. And that set the tone for the whole episode and the whole uh, controversy, basically, because that's just how it is. Women aren't allowed to rule until this,
Hmm.
this heir is named at the end of this episode.
And they were kind of trolling the woman that got picked over. They're like, oh, the has been queen or never was or something
Queen that
at the
never
tournament.
was.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
queen that never was. And just going back to his wife that died, like maybe it is for the best so she didn't feel so guilty all the rest of her life. Just kind of let's end this now. No
I,
more attempts,
I mean,
failed attempts.
I'd rather feel guilty than be drugged up, spread out on a bed, and then cut open like without, like, just right in front of me. Like, yeah, I'll take that any day. I'll be guilty. She probably would have too.
Yeah. Yes.
That was
Holy shit.
heartbreaking
Truly.
and
Truly
terrifying.
heartbreaking. Yeah. What is the Can you explain to me the secret he was explaining to her at the very end? I kind of was having trouble.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I don't think you're supposed to know. Let me just say that you'll know when you get through Game of Thrones what he's talking about. So it's kind
Okay.
of cool the way you're viewing it, because you're like viewing this in like, timeline order. But some of the Targaryens have a gift of like getting visions of the future. And so he was saying that one of the first Targaryen kings that came over to Westeros and took over did so because of this dream that he had, a prophecy about something that's going to happen in the future. And so you're not really supposed to know what he's talking about. She didn't, his daughter didn't really know what he was talking about, because these visions and prophecies are pretty vague, so that's all you're supposed to know, and you're supposed to kind of keep that in the back of your mind as you continue to watch.
Man, it's going to be a while before I know this secret. I have
Yeah.
a long way to go.
Imagine if you were a book reader, though. You probably would have had to wait like 20 years or 15 years or something.
Whoa. So pretty much all the content is there for me to consume.
Mm-hmm.
I
We're
love
gonna love it, by the way.
Yeah, I'm already. And I was going to say, I love this female main character to now the queen, the heir.
Yeah, she's the heir.
She's killing it. She's killing it. And are her and her friend like kind of in cahoots?
They're really close,
Uh-huh.
because I don't know if you caught this, but Rhaenyra is the king's daughter, so she's the princess. But then Alicent is the daughter of the hand of the king.
Okay.
And so that's why he asks her to go and comfort the king, which is creepy. Yeah, because he's trying to like get more power, and he's using his daughter to do that. So we'll see what happens with that. But
lots of sex in this episode, lots of titties everywhere.
orgies going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think of the tournament?
The tournament was cool. I I loved when Damon got knocked off his horse and he does like a he's doing like a grind on the rail there.
Dude, I know some Tony Hawk shit, like
Yeah.
rail sliding.
Yeah, that was cool. And then I just liked seeing more of the tournament. Like it felt like you got a lot of that. Because we didn't get to see a tournament in the last show, Night of the Seven Kingdoms we just watched. They talked a lot about it, but it didn't really happen. What happened was different. But so that was really cool. I just liked all the different rules and stuff, or lack of rules, because it felt like Damon was just cheating the whole time, but no one seemed to care. And then I thought it was really dope that um like people started dying, and that's not what's supposed to happen. But you had the the other princess there basically saying Princess Rhaenys saying like, oh yeah, they're all hopped up because there's no wars going on. This has just been a time of peace, so they're just trying to get out their
Hmm.
get out all their aggression in this tournament.
All the squires were throwing up and just, oh, um, yeah, he totally faked out that one guy and just flipped over on his horse and bit the dust.
Yeah.
That was rough.
Did you catch that that's a family member of the Hand of the King? So like when
I did not.
he was looking at him like, watch this, and that's why he picked him.
Hmm. Oh,
Because
okay.
yeah, yeah, because they Damon and I am what is his name, the Hand of the King, Otto Hightower.
He's the
That's
one
yeah.
that bit the dust, right?
Well, Otto Hightower is the Hand of the King, the one that the second in charge, the one that's in the council meetings, that's like talking crap to Damon, and you know, like he's second in command basically.
Gotcha.
And so, yeah, the guy that flipped over was one of his family members, and Damon did that on purpose just to get back at him.
Hmm.
So yeah, yeah, and we'll get more of the names. I think as time goes on, you'll be able to kind of like pick out who's who and things like that. But I know it's hard in the beginning because people's names are so similar and out
Strange.
there. Yeah.
Have a lot of vowels in them. Uh, this is just right out the gate. So, I mean, I'm sure I'm going to know all the names by the end of it. We're going to be covering this for quite a bit. So,
Hmm. Yeah, and it gets really good. So,
hmm.
do you have any predictions? Anything that you think is going to happen? Any any hopes?
I mean, I just feel like someone's going to try to kill Ray. What's her name?
Rhaenyra.
Rhaenyra. I feel like someone's going to try to kill her. Any hopes? No, no hopes just yet. I feel like anytime I've tried to predict or really hope something, it just completely twists and turns. It's just not expected at all. That's kind
Yeah.
of what I like about this world is it keeps you on your toes.
I was going to ask you some questions to kind of like see if you caught some things.
Oh shit, am I
But
going to get graded?
but no, I just no,
I
I don't know if I don't know if I should because it might spoil. I don't want to spoil anything. But
have a non-spoiler question for you.
yeah.
Do you think dragons actually existed at one point in time?
Hmm. Well, if there were dinosaurs, maybe some of them blew fire. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a mythical creature, but Um, I think a lot of myths are based on reality. So yeah, maybe they were hanging out with unicorns and Sasquatch and Loch Ness monster.
Mothman, and they're all just having a tea party.
Yeah.
Big supernatural tea party.
What about you?
I do think probably a form of the dragon existed, maybe in the water. I definitely think something like that could fly. I don't know if it's like, if I think of it like a unicorn, like a mythical creature. I really do think it probably something like that existed, even if it was just a dinosaur that looked like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
It's possible for sure.
Hmm.
Um,
They're holding out the dragons on us. Come on, I want to ride a dragon.
well, there's plenty of dragons in the show. So, we got a little taste. I think we just saw 2 of them. But I think it was said that like there's like 10 dragons out and about. So I think we're going to see a lot more of them. And one of the things that I thought was really cool is just all the dragons are really distinct and different. So like, Rhaenyra has the golden dragon, and then Daemon has his like red dragon with the long neck. And then there's a bunch of other ones that were talked about or that we're going to see.
I have my ears red for the dragon for all our audio listeners.
Nice.
Tune in on YouTube.
Yeah, I forgot. Some people might just be listening to this.
Mm-hmm. So we have to describe in detail what we're talking about.
Did you have a favorite part of the episode?
I mean, this may be kind of morbid, but maybe not my favorite.
The balls getting cut off?
That's my favorite. Yep. That's the one. Ew. No, but the most moving part to me was the funeral, or how they laid the wife and baby to rest, and she came and called upon the dragon to light the fire, and just that gut-wrenching emotion you could just feel off of everyone. You can just see it and feel it. It's really crazy how they can convey that so well on camera. Yeah. I'm always floored by that.
It was a live cremation.
Mm-hmm. And that's how, that's kind of where I left off in Game of Thrones, how they did that to Jason Momoa.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Right.
That's how they cremated him.
I forgot about that. Uh-huh. I'm gonna have to like try to catch up to where you are so I know what we can talk about. But we'll see. We'll see if I can get there. I think for me, like I don't have like a favorite part, but there were certain scenes that I just thought were so well done. Whenever the gold cloaks are going through, King's Landing and cracking down on all the criminals, and
woo! That's the ball cutting part.
Yeah, and there's like a meat wagon of just body parts that they just are carting away. That was so brutal, but a cool part. And then, like I said at the very beginning, where everything is kind of really set up, and you see how grand everything was. And then there are certain things that are like, I don't know. I don't think I can mention it because I feel like it may be too spoilery for you, but there were certain little hints of what's going to happen later that I couldn't believe was like, the breadcrumbs were laid out in this first episode. So it just feels like very well written, the entire thing. And so, yeah, I'm excited. I did not expect to get so much out of this rewatch, but I really did. And it gets me really hyped for the next episode.
Hell yeah. And
Hell
of
yeah,
course
brother.
and of course the tournament. I mean, I'm always like, "Wah!" Just out loud freaking out. And last question. Where the throne is that set in the same place Game of Thrones was filmed? That's supposed to be like the same everything.
Mm-hmm.
Location. Okay.
Yes, and it's King's Landing, which is like
Okay.
the capital. It's the main city. And I thought that was another thing that was so cool is the throne, how it's different. It's like they have all those other swords around it in this,
Yeah.
but I guess over time those kind of went away or they were removed. But I thought that was really cool. Like the throne room looked awesome.
Very gnarly how they're just like melting down the stairs.
This
Kind of like
metal.
we would melt like witches if we hear any spoilers. So no spoilers. Just melt
Yeah.
down.
Keep Sydney unsullied as she goes through this. And and I'll try my best because I want to keep talking about things, but I'm just gonna keep it based on what's in the episode so that we don't spoil you. Anything else before we head out?
I think that's it. I think we'll leave you with that.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us for this episode for season 1, episode 1 for House of the Dragon. If you like that, please like and subscribe and drop a 5-star review wherever you're listening. We really appreciate it, and it helps us out a whole bunch. If you are a huge movie and TV nerd like we are, I suggest you hit that notification bell because we're here for you every week.
Yeah.
We've also covered all the Fallout, all season 1 of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. We just wrapped that and are so excited to cover House of the Dragon in preparation for season 3.
Hot
streaming
D.
on Hot D, streaming on HBO Max. So we hope to see you next week for episode 2 of House of the Dragon. And that's a wrap on tonight's episode of Cinema So Far.